free beats from our good friends over at YouTube Audio Library. I'll be with you in just 1 second. All right, I don't know how good my sound is, guys. I don't even know that it's actually coming through. I think it is. But this shirt is uncomfortable, so my neck keeps rubbing weird on this. So, all right. I'm gonna light up a cigarette here. I know it's not the classiest thing to hear on a microphone, someone smoking. But this stream isn't for children, so, you know. Yeah, this is a free beat from YouTube Audio Library. Let me turn that down a little bit. I don't mind having a little bit of music in the background from time to time. The problem is that this free audio from YouTube doesn't like roll over. So I know nobody's in the stream just yet watching. But I'm going to start this chat off, and let's go ahead and start looking at this. So this is the piece that I'm working on. This is Royce Lopez and Mersh, two internet comedians. Well, comedians in general, Mersh is, but internet comedians specifically. They have a series of shows that they're on the internet. Some of you might be familiar with them. So I was sitting around one day watching The Boys when I got off work, and I sketched this out, and it was just a basic sketch while I was watching them, using some pictures I found online, and obviously looking at the pictures of them that were right before me. So I also have here some other lolcows from the show. This is stuff that I might work on at a different time, but I'm using these basic face sketches to create this. So, pretty exciting. I've been working on it now for about 6 hours, I guess. I have it kind of zoomed in on this bottom quadrant right here. But if I zoom it back a little bit, let me see if I can adjust this. I don't know how much height that gave me or whatever. We'll take a look. So that's what it looks like right now as it stands. I started off with some student grade watercolors. Let me change. How can I change the settings on this thing? It has my YouTube stream right now as unlisted, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my Facebook and Twitter and drop a link in there for people. I think that's a smart thing to do. So, page. Sorry, I know this is businessy stuff that should have been done. I'm new to this whole internet thing. I've been doing it for like a year, and I'm still trying to get my bearings about me. So stick with me, if you will. This was student grade watercolors that I used here. If they were within reach, I would show you where they are, or what they were, maybe here in a minute. But I used 4 or 5, 6 maybe layers of watercolor, and now I'm going over it in color pencil. Let me go ahead and give this link to people. All right, sorry about that. Not very professional of me, but still doesn't seem like anybody's in the chat anyways, so that's why I'm trying to do this. I'm gonna post that. Let me get into my Twitter real quick. I'm gonna do the same thing in there. I'm live right now. Join me. Tweet. All right. So this is what I've been working on, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to move this camera down a little bit, try to adjust some of this out. This right here is Prismacolors. I've been working with Prismacolor Premieres that has been about 6 hours worth of work, I think, in all. Been working with these Prismacolor Premiere pencils and, like I said, some student grade watercolors. I've just been working my way down and across. I just finished up part of Mersh's Nightwave radio and name there. I'm actually going to leave the boys for some of the last things done for the video. I am excited to get working on it, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead, get up here, and I'll play us a little bit of this free music from our friends at YouTube in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't want it to be overpowering or anything anyway, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. All right. So my goal here, obviously, is to try to make this brick wall look as real as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this down where I'm working at so we can get a closer angle of what exactly I'm working on. Oop. All right. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm going in right now with Prismacolor Rose Pink, or Hot Pink, excuse me. Neon Pink. This is Lavender. And Process Red. And then finally, I'm outlining the outer edges with Parma Violet and Black. So we're gonna work on those. The bricks are gonna be made up of these other colors over here, mostly French grays, cool grays, and then I have some blue and purples that I'm obviously putting in over this to give the look of light reflecting. Hi, Jeeves. My cat just decided to come in. I don't know if you guys heard him meowing behind me, but let me put this cigarette out. Disgusting! I love that meme. All right. Okay, let's get in here. So around here, a night wave, I realized that this needs to be as bright as possible around this edge. But I want to make this white in the middle definitely separated. Oh, let me hit my hat on my phone there. Sorry. And this has been, gosh, like I said, 6 hours, I think, of work. The watercolors went pretty fast on the outer edge. It's the fine details. Pardon me while I sharpen this pencil. All right, I'm gonna get in here and get in these fine details. Yeah, man. The problem with Prismacolors, as you can probably just see what happened right there, is I broke this lead a little bit. It's just a little piece of lead cracked off there, but it takes away my fine point. And this is something that, like, dealing with Prismacolors, that is a problem we deal with a lot. Let me try to focus in on this better. Jeez, man, my phone does not want to focus in. You can kind of see the chipped lead on there. And that just, you know, that just is infuriating. It's just a little piece right off the edge there. And, but that can be infuriating when you're trying to get in here and do minor details. But so is the nature of Prismacolors, especially since they were purchased by, or moved to Mexico. Their recipe changed a little bit and it's made them even softer. If you want a firmer lead, you want to do that. And maybe a Faber-Castell Polychromos, or maybe even going into your Cairn Dash luminance, but you're talking about some expense then. You're talking about, you know, $5 a pencil at times. Adds up. All right. So I've been watching ROTC for about a year and a half, about. Actually, my girlfriend was at work, and we had just started investigating some things that had been going on in the conspiracy world. And she found a video at work of Royce and Mersh. It was ROTC, and she comes back and she goes, I can't tell if these guys are being serious or if they're joking with one another, and I need to show you this video. And it was just the two of them having back and forth banter and joking with one another, and definitely being sarcastic, but she's not great at hearing sarcasm. I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen this, sorry. Go in here with some white in the middle here and try to, again, spread out some of this damn lead. So soft. Gotta be very careful. Right in between here and right there. Beautiful. And I just have this to help me clean it off. So after we watched that episode, it kind of became an everyday when we got off work thing. We were gonna watch The Boys, especially since we both work day jobs. She was able at work to put in headphones. She is able, I guess, at work to put in headphones and work with headphones in. So she listens to Daywave and ROTC as much as possible while she's at work. And sometimes I get to go in later, so I'll catch Daywave before I go into work. and then catch ROTC after I get off, or when I get off work, we'll go home and watch it. But I always try to catch it. Nightwave as well, although that got hard for a while where I was having to get up extra early. Anyhow, super hilarious. And it's comforting to know that there are people that think the same way I do. I used to be a flaming leftist at one time when I was young and dumb, but I understand what it was that I was doing and why I made the decisions I made, so I feel no regrets. I may not endorse the behaviors and beliefs that I had before, but after some thinking and growing up over time, it seemed like a lot of my friends were in a state of arrested development. So finding a group, a community that really emphasized personal responsibility and, moral consistency is always a great thing. And it helps me feel more comfortable in my own place in deciding what's best for me and how I should act in the world. So I appreciate the boys and what ROTC has given to my life. I know that sounds a little cheesy, but in this world, it's become harder and harder and harder for me to communicate with people. And it's something I always thought I had a gift at, was communication. So, when that starts to happen and you notice that conversations are breaking down all around you and you're being taken out of context and turned into a monster, people who've known you your whole life tried to turn you into a monster. And at that point, pardon me, sorry, getting a little bit of notifications there, guys. I'll have to figure out if I can turn my notifications down. Whoa, I believe I can. There we go, let's turn those off. Anyhow, so, finding some guys who were funny and lighthearted and had a very similar humor from the same, age bracket as me and my peers, it was relieving to find that. And I want to help people who are doing things that I find positive in the world. I want to help those things grow and become successful. So I've been, considering doing something like this for a little bit of time now. But I've been working on some other artwork. So once I finally freed up that time, I said to my girlfriend, it is time for me to do Mersh and Royce piece. So I've just been working on it in my free time, and today I got off this afternoon a little early due to the hours cut back that we're all dealing with, or a lot of us are dealing with. But I get to come home and work on my dream career, which is being able to create art for a living. So can't be really mad at that. You gotta find the blessings in the waves of shit. Some nonsense. I go to work and I work with a lot of people who hold their views very private, and I respect that. But then I work with a lot of people who don't care to keep their thoughts to themselves. And there's been times in my life over the past 10 years where, I could say that I really have been appalled at the way society seemed to be going. And where I stand now, boy, I wish I would have paid more attention. Maybe I would have not found myself in the same place that I do today. So the only thing I can do with that is try to use the knowledge that I've gained to make better decisions. Anyhow, I don't want to go on any philosophical trips necessarily for anybody. I don't know why my notifications are still so loud. What in the world? All right. Okay, so that should be my notifications. I don't know why that sounds so loud. I'm going to adjust this again so we get a better angle on this. Sorry. I didn't realize how bad that angle was, guys. So, because of the colors here, and when you get in these spots like this where the inside and the outside are so similar that it's hard to differentiate which color is lighter and darker, I'm going to go in, I think with this 90% cool gray, and I'm not going to sharpen this because what I want to do is just kind of scuffle the top of this. Oh yeah, just like that. And you see how it's giving it just a ever so light layer of colored pencil. It's amazing how well some of these binders break down and smooth around. So then I'm going to go in with this 20% cool gray on top of it. Oh yeah, see. Now that lightens that up a little bit as it smashes down on top of that layer. But then that darkness is kind of trapped underneath it and translucents, thus making that a little darker. Bam, already that looks a little better. Contrast can really make stuff pop, but I don't want to make things muddy either. So one thing that I am a bit concerned about is I didn't want this to be so filled in here. I'll take this tool. This is just a scraping tool from I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like black sheets, and you scrape away the ink layer on top and the color underneath is left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to lift up some of this. Oh, it's just bringing the pink forward. I don't think we're going to get anywhere deeper than that pink without damaging the paper. Let's see if I can get this white in here and try to lighten up some of that. So then the correct way to handle that would be to go in with this darker purple, this Parma Violet. I'm just going to bam, go around this outside a little bit, and around this outside just so gently. Bam, that cleans that O up a lot. Cleans that O up a whole lot. I could even go in now with just the plain lavender even and just hit that again, the same lines. Now it looks like it's got a little bit more of a definition there, separating it out. The problem is this R is effectively suffering from the same thing, and I don't think that'll pull out as much. Ooh, yeah, I don't know that that's gonna come up. All right, so I'm going here with a little bit of white, see what we can get done. Oh, well, that might not be completely terrible. It kind of matches the gray from beneath it. I actually don't mind that so much. It's 90% gray. All right. Get this in here. Oh, this lead. Look, Prismacolor. Y'all gotta pick up the game. It's ridiculous. Just a little bit more rigidity. Now I have a line in here that I never intended for right there, and that's just infuriating to me because there isn't a whole lot I can do about that. Let me try to get this. This is a little Tihu electric eraser from Japan. I'm gonna try to use this to get in here. We might have a winner chicken dinner. Okay. Ooh. Let's bring this down just a little more. I'm gonna see how close I can get this so you can kind of see more what I'm looking at, what I'm trying to do here. It's a difficult process because in one layer you can go too far and then it's just too hard to go back, and that is the upsetting part of doing color pencil work. You know, I never felt like a bad guy when I was on the left, and in fact a lot of the things that I did out of virtue, and that's no surprise to anyone who could see clearly how the left thought. But as it became aware to me that like the people around me were trying to almost like one up each other in virtue of the virtue signaling game, I had to kind of back out, step away, and realize that like it was slowly becoming a bunch of cooks in the kitchen, and all of them didn't want to be cooks, they wanted to be dictators. I mean, not out and out dictators, that would be rude, but you can only say certain things and expect to be heard in a way. If you say things that are stuff like Gretchen Whitmer's saying right now in Michigan, you start to sound really authoritarian. And as soon as you can hear that, there's no way you can stay on the left. Like, there's just no way. You gotta pull back. I had to do that, at least. I don't know. You know, I've been drawing my whole life, and for a long time I was drawing what I thought other people wanted to see, not what I wanted to draw. And as I gained some understanding of who I actually was over the past 5-6 years, the more the inspiration to draw and to know what I want to draw and how I want to convey my messages, my ideas, has become clearer and clearer. And in some part, ROTC is part of that. They've given me the confidence that I'm not just some crazy dude who is perceiving these things through some messed up, degenerate filter. Like, I thought that I was a bad person for thinking some of the things that I did, and now I look back and realize that I was actually much better of a person for thinking the way that I did. And that's just a personal opinion. It's a subjective thing, but you know, anyhow. So I'm gonna go in here, and I think we're gonna add some like pinks and blues to this section just in front of Mersh's face. It will help with this almost reflective surface that I've given the wall behind it. Again, going in with this permaviolet. Some of this has already been burnished. This right here has been burnished so much that I think adding any more layers, you're just going to cause wax bloom. That's where the... so in a color pencil, there's basically a pigment and a binder, and sometimes a solvent as well. But the binder in these pencils is more waxy. And when you're using them on paper, the more pressure you apply, You can get this stuff called wax bloom, which is where the pencil relieves a bunch of wax onto the top of paper. It makes it look really glossy, but it also means you can't add any more colors to it by that point. So you kind of have to be hitting these layers really lightly in order to get any value change. Putting in all this purple. Now I'm going in again with this lavender. And it's weird because a lot of these colors are actually right here in the Nightwave logo that I've drawn underneath it, but these are just going to be simply tonal changes that will be subtly picked up through the black and the grays that are on top of it, like a light reflection, if you will. Gives cohesiveness to the piece, and also gives it a color palette, a color scheme to work within. So I think it looks pretty dope. Now I'm going with that processed red very, very lightly. I mean, we're talking about extra lightly because this red is actually pretty heavily pigmented once you start putting some weight down on it. It doesn't look like it right now, but as soon as I put some weight on top of it, especially if I put anything light, like a light gray or a white, that'll pop that red right out. So I have to be very careful about how I do that. And I'll go in with, this is just a light cerulean blue. And I'm going to try to hit some of this area with this blue as well, bring that cool color out. I guess I could call this live stream Art Wave. Maybe I'll call that the video, I'll call that Art Wave. When because this eventually will be edited into a video. On my live streams, I will, take the footage from my live streams and add them later on to my video. All right, let's get some of these lighter grays in here. Actually, I'm going to go in first with the 70% gray. And we're going to go right underneath here. You see how dark this gray is? I mean, immediately upon putting pressure, any sort of pressure right there, it just suddenly gets super dark. So I'm going to try to actually just put it on top of this dark spot that the watercolor already left. Okay. And it's going to get lighter as I get closer to Mersh's face. Darker away from it. Actually, I could even kind of try to blend these in just by light circles as light as possible. I'm barely putting any pressure on there. Now I'm going to go in here. The next one's a 50% gray. I'm going to go around this outside. And I can start to put a little bit more pressure on this gray. Just a light bit. But I don't want to put too much, especially closer to this outer edge here. I don't want to put as much, and I don't want to put as much closer to Mersh's face. Again, we're mimicking the light here. Yeah. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump back in with, where in the world is that 90%? This is the 90%. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in very lightly from this side. Small rotations, very, very lightly. I'm actually going to even change my position of my hand right now so that I can get more of a loose circle here. And I'm barely touching the paper right now. Okay. But I want to put just a little more pressure right here on this spot where we added that 70% gray. Just little bitty oval shapes, rotations. And there we go. Awesome. I'm liking it. Go back in again, another layer over top of that. I noticed that's a little lighter right here, so I'm going to keep it a little lighter on that base. A little bit more pressure. A little lighter up here. And I just keep messing around with it, you know. 70, 60. I'm going to bring in this slate gray right now. I'm going to hit this slate gray at the bottom because I like the tone of it, and I think it'll blend very well right there. I'm actually going to give it quite a bit of pressure. I'm going to pretty much burnish that corner. I like the look of the slate gray blend. Yeah, a little bit of pressure there. So that's pretty well burnished in that area. Not completely, but it's helping me get a better look on there. I'm going to go in now with that 70% gray, and we're going to go a little bit harder on top. Again, in those same spots that we already hit before. But now I'm going to hit this with a little bit more pressure. Again, just building that pressure on that one spot very lightly. But now I'm going to drop back down to this 50% gray, and I'm going to hit this outside. And I think closer to the number or the words, I'm going to give it just a little bit of pressure. Pretty close to full pressure, but we're going to keep it not quite burnished. And then I'll take this 10% gray, and I think I'll go ahead and burnish by getting a little bit closer to the letters and that edge. Burnish that in there. Bam. Look at that, yeah. See, now it gives it a transitional color. I like it. And then we're going to go back to this 90% gray. We're going to hit this over top. A little bit more pressure. And you'll notice I'll bounce around from different parts of the pictures, sometimes aimlessly outside of frame. I'll be sketching up here, and I'll just, you know, go up out of frame and won't even realize. I apologize for that. Try to keep you know, looking up at my stream to see what's actually in the frame. I apologize for that. I'm going to throw that 90 down, go back to that 70 again, and I think with this 70 now, I might give it a lot of pressure here. We're going to go ahead and burnish this top part. I'm going to leave that almost bean-shaped dark part to be dealt with afterwards, but I think I can hit a lot of this. I like that darkness. I think I do. Use it a little lighter around the bottom of this bean. Hit it lightly with this gray. That's very light, but you see what I did there. I just add a little more shadow. All it's going to do actually is increase that cohesiveness through this thing. And on top of this, I'm not putting as much pressure as I am on the outside again. The reason why I'm still going to go in, I think, with 2 more layers on top of that. But I'm going to go ahead and take this 50% again. I'm going to hit right on top of that where I just laid that gray on the bottom. Another light layer. And across this top that was almost all the way burnished, I'm going to give it just a little bit more pressure. Bam. I like it. Going to the slate gray again. Slate gray. On this darkest part. And then that 90%. And I'm going to go ahead and give it most of the pressure of the 90%. Give it pretty much a burnishing pressure. I mean, you might just not give it complete because we could go over it again with some white or something here to blend it in a second. Add a little bit light right there. Okay, now back to this 50% gray. I'm going to go ahead and try to drag these two together. You see how that does? Oh yeah, there we go. Grab that color, move it around a little bit. It's looking pretty well, actually. If you've never seen one of my videos, make sure to check out my playlist. You can also find me on Facebook at CharlesHancockCreations, on Instagram at the Charles Hancock Art, Twitter at CHancockArt, DeviantArt at, I'm pretty sure it's Charles Hancock Art. Either way, links are, in the description or the About Me section or something. They're around. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me or put your questions down in the comments. I would be willing and would love to get some feedback from people who actually watch my videos. I'm trying to grow this channel and I'm doing it with what I can. I just feel like this is the place I'm supposed to be. And I know that that's a common thing for young people in my age bracket to say, especially as a dream job these days. But as someone who had an interest in history and education and film and art, it seemed like kind of the obvious choice. So this is the 10% gray. And I'm going to go in with this 10% gray around the edge here. You can see it's light around that edge. And I'm going in with some burnishing pressure right now. Oh yeah, there we go. That's some real pressure. I got to be careful not to break these soft leads though. Just riding that edge. Riding that edge. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. I'm going to take this white across this top here. Bam. And right in this crack. We'll deal with those later because we got to make that dark again too. We'll probably go in here with, let's see, this 10. And we'll make that a little darker. What is that? That's the 50%. I'm using the 50. And then I'm going to fade that into this white again. We're going to use this white, and you can see as push down on the white, it just kind of makes it fade out there. Just like any other tool, you learn to use these things more effectively the more that you use them. You learn their hidden traits. I really enjoy the Prismacolor Premieres. I do get frustrated at times at their softness, like I said, but I think it looks pretty cool. It does a pretty good job. All right. So I'm going to say chances are that we're pretty well done with the night wave part here. I'd like to clean it up a little bit, which, I'm just going to take this 90% right here, maybe do a little bit of fine detailing work down here, but other than that, I think we should really move on to Daywave's logo, which I had to kind of poke fun at Royce's passion for everything Disney and do a play on that type of script, or a typeface, if you will. And I worked on that for a little bit, and kind of came up with this idea over here. And I wanted it to complement the day. I like the fact that I chose these colors for Nightwave because it kind of reminds me of neon and the nightlife, I think it's fitting. As for Daywave, I'm thinking of something more like a yellow color. I'm not really sure. But I thank you guys for coming out and joining me for this stream. In about 45 minutes, Revenge of the Sith will be on. You can find them on DLive, on YouTube here, and I'm pretty sure you can watch them also in Streamlabs, so as well as other places. I appreciate it, and I will catch up with you guys next time.